Hi there. So let's start with a lying down and a real tuning into the body. See what's here for us today. Finding a really comfortable position to lie in. Taking your time to feel into the body and what it needs this morning. Taking plenty of time to really have a shuffle about. It's not about just getting into a place and suddenly becoming still. And how important this checking in process is to ensure your comfort. It's really part of a transition process from the external environment to paying a little more attention to the internal environment and noticing what that's like to start to drop into an awareness of the body and how it feels being supported by the mat and by the ground. So starting with your knees bent or the legs extended, taking the pressure off your lower back and perhaps putting a block or cushions, a bolster under your knees. Sensing too into the neck and shoulders, and you might want to just take your head and place it on a block, like just to lift it up a little higher. Well, that might feel quite constricting in the throat. So just taking care, looking after your neck as best you can. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears and placing the hands wherever feels comfortable. So you might want to rest them on your belly with the elbows on the floor. And if you're doing that, just feeling into the sensations of expanding. If you have your fingertips touching or close to each other, you can feel with the in-breath that they're moving away. And with the out-breath, they're coming closer towards or back to touching each other. Or to release the shoulders, you can take the arms down by the sides, turning the palms up to the ceiling. Having a real sense of the weight of your body. Really surrendering the weight of your body into the ground, feeling the earth. As you tune into the body and the breath, also noticing the experience of energy in your body if you're able to. So can you feel any areas where energy is moving around? Just having an awareness of that. Or maybe places where it feels a little sort of stuck or slow moving, or as soon as I start talking about energies, my tummy starts rumbling just as they start to shift about. So energy can be felt in lots of different ways. Through the breath, through the digestive system, sensations of warmth or coolness, tingling or something else. And And today we're going to be working with the energies a little bit more, as in we'll have more awareness of the energies as we move through this session. And if it is that you're not really able to connect with that, that's perfectly fine too, just feeling into the sensations of the body as we move. But we're going to go into more flowing movements, nothing static today. So a sense of perhaps spiraling, of allowing the energy to flow all the way around the body. And at the same time, as we're working with the spiraling movements of the body, we're working into the fascia, this tissue that sort of binds everything together. And none of the fascia is linear, so we don't have kind of, it just doesn't go straight up and down the back or straight across the front. It's sort of one band lies on top of the other, and it's lovely to be able to move the body quite freely. And as we do this, it's not sort of a letting everything go. We're doing that with a real sense of the core, keeping us centered and strong and grounded, connected. And everything sort of flows with still that sense of being very anchored and secure. So let's just start by keeping the elbows on the floor, lifting the hands up and spiraling the hands around a little bit. So just moving into the wrists, circling the hands. Well, of course, as we go through this practice together today, knowing that you need to look after yourself and making any changes to the movements, any modifications that feel supportive for you. So just circling the other way. And when you feel ready, you can take the elbows up off the floor and start to move the arms a little bit so that there's a sense of really circling up towards the ceiling with the arms. So moving into the elbows, into the shoulders. And then changing direction as you start to ease the shoulders, the elbows, the forearms, the hands, just gently and slowly back down by your sides. And then bending the knees, placing the feet hip distance apart. You might need to shuffle your lower back a little so that you're pressing your lower back into the floor, creating that sense of being connected through the core. So you might wish to pull the belly button, the navel down towards the base of the spine, and then lift up your right foot, not very high, just off the floor, and circle the ankle around in one direction, feeling how the core needs to be engaged in order just to do that small movement. And then take that circling motion up into the knee. So taking care of your knee, you might hear some little sounds, a bit of crepitus in there. Not doing anything too extreme, but just taking that foot up to the ceiling, and you can start to work around into the hip a bit more. So just circling to the hip as you're spiraling through your leg. Watching what happens in your neck and shoulders and your head, just staying nice and soft, and then back in the other direction. You're sort of rocking a little bit on your lower back, feeling into the hip as you start to move that foot back down to the floor, just gently placing it down there. Once more, have a breath in and out. It might be you can feel a difference in energy already between the right and the left. And then bringing your knee up a little and foot off the floor. We start with the left foot now. Just working into the ankle first of all. And then taking that movement up to the knee. And to the hip as you start to take that round in quite big circles, if that's comfortable for your hip. It's not taking it across the midline if there's a hip replacement there. And then back in the other direction. Maybe listening to the sounds your body makes in your knee or your ankle, your hip. Keeping connected to the core. And gently lowering the foot back down to the mat. Closing the eyes, a couple of breaths in and out. Allowing the belly to expand and then contract on the exhale. And we're going to just very gently lift up the lower back just a tiny bit and start to circle around the pelvis so that the lower back moves. It's like you're become a hammock and your shoulders and your feet are the point where they're sort of tethered. And you're just going to go round and side to side. We're going to have a little bit of playfulness with this session. So just working around, circling the pelvis, connecting in through the core. Yeah, perhaps just having a swing from one side to the other. Lifting up one hip, then lifting up the other side. And then back in the other direction if you're circling. So your upper back is connected to the floor. It's just your lower back that's lifted and it's being activated from side to side. Good, and then really gently placing the lower back down and bring the knees up towards you. Separate the knees out and take hold of your ankles or your shins, whatever you can hold on to in the lower part of your legs. And we're going to start to just circle the feet around, one over the other. So rather like you're riding a bike, but the knees are out to the side. And as you do that, you can rock from side to side. So just let the body flow from one side to the other. You might even end up going right over on towards your hip on one side as you go one way and then over to the other. So really let the back, that's nice, let the back feel massaged and you're opening into the hip on each side. And then back the other direction of the feet, circling, your back pedaling. Good. And then from there, just letting go of the ankles and circling them around. And then we're going to circle the wrists as well. So we'll just spiral both legs, both arms at the same time. Just working into those bigger joints of the shoulders and the hips. Maybe slowing it down a little bit if you feel you're going a bit too far. Just playing around with the speed, back the other way. Good. And then having a lovely long stretch. Take the arms up above your head. Push the heels away. And ease yourself from side to side. So breathing in, and as you breathe out, pushing the left heel away and moving the hands over to the right. Breathing in, coming to center, breathing out, pressing the right heel away and the hands over to the left. So just doing that a few times and really feeling the opening up through the waist, one side to the other. Good. And then very gently, I'm going to bend the knees, roll over onto the side. And just rest there a little while. Rest your head on your hand or your forearm. And then gently easing yourself up when you're ready. Very slowly. And we're going to come into cat. So just taking your time. And as you come into cat, finding your knees below the hips and the wrists below the shoulders, if that's comfortable. Otherwise, you can take your hands a little bit further forwards. That's absolutely fine. Really separating the fingers wide, maybe easing back on the heels of the hands, spreading the fingers and then getting the pads of the fingers really connected down to the floor. And then just taking your attention to your back, feeling the back's nice and flat. You might even want to have a look at the screen and see what's happening there, connecting in through the core and navel coming to the base of the spine. And then we're going to just pay attention to the neck for a little bit. So we're going to circle the head around, taking the head around to feel into the neck. Maybe a couple of times in one direction and then a couple back the other way. Good. And then start to take that movement around into your spine. So as you're moving your head, start to move into the spine. So you might be doing a little bit of cat-cow, but really we're taking more of a twisting, opening, lengthening movement from side to side as we just circle the hips around, softening through the elbows and the knees. So it's like a skipping rope spine. It's really involving the head as well, letting that go round in the direction that it feels like, and then easing back the other way. Feeling into the shoulders now as well, and so really bending down through the elbows. Good. Any time if your wrists feel a bit sore, then you can come out of this and then come back into it. I'm going to take the right hand and take it back around in a circle, so you're coming up and around, really reaching forward. So as you're doing this, you can also move through the body. So we're not just working into the shoulder, we're going back and forth, taking the arm past the ear. We're doing it about 4 times going forwards, and then we go about 4 times going back, but just doing it your own speed, feeling the breath in the body. Just noticing what it's like to move in this way. when you've done that 4 times, we're going to just scoot the arm up and behind you. So you go into a twist and have a look behind. And then go into threading the needle. So bringing the shoulder and the head down to the floor. Just maybe moving your left hand away from your face a little bit more to allow there to be a bit of space. And then next time you breathe in, just bring your arm back up, going into a twist. And placing that hand back down on the mat. And then we're going to take the right leg away, just the toes under on the floor, pressing the heel, and then moving forwards with that. So we're just gently going to rock back and forth, feeling into the stretch of the hamstrings. And then taking that right foot behind you, so you're sort of scooting it behind and then bringing it round the other way. So you need a bit of space, scooting it behind. And as you're doing that, feeling into the side of your body, keeping the core nice and strong. Just going back and forth. And see if you can take a little bit further, opening out into the hips. And then next time you take it across, just allow your bottom to come down and just have a little sit in that position, as if you're going into pigeon. Feeling the stretch in your left buttock. And coming out of that. Both knees separated and come down into child, just resting posture. Let the wrists feel nice and soft. Just releasing in the wrists. Good, and then coming back up into cat, and we're going to do all of that on the other side. So making sure you've got enough space. So let's just start with moving into the head again, so circling the head, easing through the neck. And then starting to take that movement into the whole of the spine. So the hips going from side to side, bending through the elbows. Just a little bit of cat and cow as you're doing that. Maybe bringing your bottom down towards the heels. And opening up into the sides as you ease your bottom left to right. And then taking the attention to the left arm, and we're going to take that back, ease the bottom down towards the heels, bring the left arm up and round in a circle. Making these movements as big or as small as you wish, it's entirely up to you. Just taking care of your shoulder. I'm just doing that 4 times in one direction and then changing it into the other direction. Feeling the breath. You're not only feeling it in the shoulder, but you're opening into the side of the body. And then when you've done that 4 times, lifting the arm up to the left, turning to look at that hand, and then gently threading it through the eye of the needle. Bring your head to the floor, the shoulder to the floor. You may wish to move your right hand away a little bit from your face, give you a little bit more space. And as you breathe in, feel the expansion through the shoulder, reopening into the muscles, the fascia, using your breath. And then just gently easing back up again, bringing your right hand in perhaps a little bit more, the left hand up. And then slowly back down to the floor. It's nice flat back. And we're going to extend the left leg away, just tucking it, the toes under, stretching the heel away. As you breathe in, just rocking forwards a little, so easing back and forth. That sense of really stretching into the hamstrings, opening into the back of the knee, noticing what that feels like for you. And then taking the left foot out to the side and then tracing. So it's the left side and then tracing as it comes around to the right and maybe looking down at it as it comes over to the right. So you're just moving the neck, opening the side of the body. So doing that a few times, going to the left. So you're moving into the lower part of your body. Just back and forth, controlling it through the core. Keeping your tummy button to the base of the spine so you're not bending into the back too much. And the next time you cross that left leg behind the right leg, just let that ease and you come down into a stretch. So only go down as far as you feel you comfortably can. Taking that sense of stretching across your hip, buttock maybe, down the leg. And all while just having some movement there, so it's not static. Good, and then easing yourself out of that, separate the knees and come back down into child. Both arms down either side of the body if that's possible for you, or else just rest one hand on top of the other. Feel the breath in the body. And then gently and slowly coming up to kneeling. So if kneeling is a little difficult for you, you might want to place some a rug or cushions underneath your knees, or as I do, although it doesn't really hurt me, it just feels more comfortable to sit on a block or a cushion so you can become nice and upright. So let's just find this place. Perhaps closing your eyes, feeling the breath, maybe having a little roll of the shoulders to allow them to align. coming into that settled space where there's some connection through the core, a real sense of lengthening through the front of the body. So we're not sort of collapsing in on that at all. And then interlacing the fingers, pressing the heels of the hands away and bringing them up past your ears if you're able to, or keeping the elbows relaxed if this is too strong on your shoulders. And we're going to start to move a little bit through this. So we're going to go into a little bit of a gentle twist, but more of a sort of a swaying twist. So just easing from side to side. Letting the elbows bend as they wish, but feeling that you're really working down through the sides of the body, allowing the sensations of twist and expansion, but also contraction as you're controlling this movement. It's actually quite strong through the center of your body. So feel the shoulders are sort of rolling back each time as well. And then doing it with a sense of the shoulders rolling forwards. So just noticing how that feels. So lovely in your upper back. The neck is soft and the head's just going whichever direction feels comfortable. Good, and then just bringing that up. Breath in, and as you breathe out, turning to the right as far as you possibly can. Feel maybe there's a little shake in the body, and then come back to the center with the in-breath, and then easing round to the left side on the exhale. We're doing that a few times, just twisting, feeling the lifting out of the waist. If this is getting too strong on your shoulders, you can bring your hands down into prayer. This is a modification so that you still get a sense of twisting. Good. And gently back to the front. Just allow the arms to come down. Oh, that's nice. In the shoulders, just roll the shoulders back. Noticing how they're feeling now. Your neck's feeling. Maybe just rolling that a few times. A couple of times, slowly in one direction and then back the other way. Good. And we're going to ease into downward facing dog. So coming around back into cat, just momentarily finding that cat posture, tucking the toes under, breathing in and breathing out, coming up into downward facing dog. So again, we're not holding any static posture here. So maybe just walking with the legs one side and the other, and let's feel what it's like to drop one hip, then the other, as you're bending through one knee, extending through the hamstrings on the other side, and starting to incorporate the shoulders into this a little bit more, so you're going from side to side as well as the legs extending. Slowing it down with the breath if you feel like you're going a little too fast. And then taking the right foot off the mat and circling the leg around. And with that, moving the rest of the body. One way and then the other. So you're moving into the shoulders, the hips, and then changing over to the other side. And back the other way. And both feet on the floor, and gently walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. Oh, and just have a hanging forward bend. Holding onto the elbows. Just feeling the weight of the arms drawing you down. And then starting to move in this position. Just rocking, maybe. Going into a little bit of a twist. Just easing from side to side. And then gently take that rocking up a little bit higher. So you're starting to lift up. Just slowly, one vertebra at a time, contracting in through the core, taking care of your back. So this is just taking quite some time to come up. The knees are nice and soft. The head is really heavy. Just gently coming up. Slowly, slowly. No rush. Notice what it feels like in the spine. When you get up to standing, just let go of holding onto the elbows. And then just keep that swaying movement going so that you're just still easing from one side to the other. Maybe rolling the shoulder, one shoulder back and the other. And then coming forwards, just doing the same, but bringing the shoulders forwards, the arms forwards. Notice how you control this through the center of your body, through the legs, and coming back to the center. Have a little bit of a shake. And then let's just step the legs out. Knee coming up on one side, really using the mat, the length of the mat, to see if each time you can come up a little bit further or extend a little bit more. Lovely. And then do this other odd one where you take your knee out to the side and then come into the center. Lovely. And then just take it back out again. Oh, just have a pause for a moment, just to check in with that flow of energy, what it's feeling like around Anahata, your heart center. Maybe feeling the energy starting to flow around the body, sort of wrapping itself around. Any warmth or tingling. Anything else that's here for you. Okay, so let's just separate the feet out to a one leg length apart, if that's possible for you. So making sure that you're really secure on the floor, on the mat, and your feet are quite well aligned. And we're going to take a breath in, take the hands behind the small of the back, breathing out, press the pelvis forwards, feeling into that back bend, and then really softening through the knees. Keep a nice flat back as you ease down. Have my hip go click, and place the hands on the floor if that's possible, or fingertips on the floor, or whatever you can do, but keeping the knees nice and soft. And then we're going to start to ease from side to side, but feel like you're starting to open into one side of the body and then the other. So the one knee is bending, the other leg is straightening. You can start to sort of take a bit of a figure of 8 feeling to the hips. So you're sort of just rolling into the hips, and from there, the spine starts to move, the shoulders start to roll and open. So let the head feel nice and relaxed. Just sensing into this flowing movement. And then coming back into the center with the knees soft, and I'm going to lift up the right arm, turn to look at the right arm, and then gently let it float back down and changing over to the left, lifting up, looking at the hand on the left side. And then again, we can start to take a bit more of a flow into this. So you bend your right knee as the right hand comes up and your left leg straightens, and then coming to the center and take the left hand up as the right leg straightens and the left knee bends. So just having a little play around with this movement and bring a little bit more flow and twist and movement into the hips and the shoulders as you go from one side to the next. Feeling that stretching into the inner thighs. Be playful and adventurous. See what's here for you. And then gently easing yourself down so that your right knee is bent, your left foot comes up off the floor. And then we're going to come up and go the other way. Lovely. And then bringing in some movement into that side to side. So maybe rolling the shoulders, just going side to side. It might be that you don't quite get down to your bottom on your heel, and that's okay. Just doing that a few times. Good. And then coming into the center and gently walking your feet in towards each other. Slowly, gently, tongue curling, coming up to standing. So I'm going to roll the shoulders. This water. Great, so we're just going to go into eagle arms. So taking yourself into a balanced position, softening a little through the knees, drawing through the core. I can really see the difference that makes for me. on the screen, and I pull in and really have that sense of lengthening. But equally, the spine is lengthening and the tailbone is going down towards the heels. And the shoulders are away from the ears. So if you feel your shoulders are up around the ears, just roll them back and down and really engaging through the upper back and those muscles underneath the shoulders. And then take the arms out to the sides and crossing the right arm over the left. Holding onto the hands or the thumb if you're able to, but if you can't, if this is too strong on your shoulders or your forearms or whatever, maybe placing your hands back to back or just finding what's available to you. You can't force it. You can just only do what you can do. And then take the elbows away from the body. And we're going to bring that sense of spiraling into this movement as we start to take the arms and hands up towards the ceiling. So this is a really slow process. Just taking the hands up higher and higher if you're able to. When you start to twist into the core, easing around. One way, and then just letting that spiral come back down as we take the hands in the other direction. Just gently letting them rest there, back in the center once more. And then softly unravel those. Just let the arms come down, have a roll. And maybe a pause. Just let the arms hang. Is there a sense that one arm is longer than the other? I mention it because mine feels like that. But just noticing if that's there for you. Beautiful breaths in and out. Feeling that lengthening through the front of the body and the spine. The opening of the heart center up to the space beyond. And then take the arms out to the sides. Take a breath in and come back in the other way. That's it. So it's left arm over right. And notice if you can do the same with your hands on this side, or whether that you need to modify it a little bit. So I can see most of you have got a different hand position from the other side. So let's just soften through the knees, connect through the core, really have a sense of the upper body, the middle of the body, the hips, the knees and the feet. And then gently, when the elbows are away from the body, starting to move into that circular movement. So it might be that the movement's really quite small or significant. And with each rotation, feel like you're lifting your arms up a little bit further. It might be you want to start to move the hips, go into a twist. Sensing what it's like to move the body in this way. And then when you get to the top, you're just changing direction. And notice how that feels different in your your shoulders. Just going the other way round. Twisting into the spine, turning to look behind you as the arms start to come back down once more. So really moving into the hips, into the spines, you're twisting. Halfway, and then gently and slowly, just pausing there just for a few moments. And then just soften that. Let the arms go. Have a roll of the shoulders. Let's just pause in mountain. Maybe bringing your feet a little bit closer towards each other. Standing tall. And as you stand in mountain, noticing what it feels like. Your fingers, the shoulders, the neck, the upper body, the middle of the body, the hips, down through the legs, the knees, the ankles and toes. Notice if there's a sense of a real movement of energy through the body. And if your eyes are closed, just opening them, roll the shoulders. So we're going to take the feet to just beyond hip distance apart. Going to need a little bit of space around you. And we're going to just take the arms up to the ceiling. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, shift the body weight over onto your right leg and bring the right arm towards the left knee. You're just going to go into a bit of a twist and a balance. So you're twisting your body, your right elbow is coming towards your left knee. Just hold it there. And then very gently placing that foot down on the floor, transferring your weight across. Bring your left elbow towards your right knee. Feel that right arm coming back at the shoulder. So we do that a couple more times. It might be that you want to take a much longer stride out, and as you transition, as you're bringing your right elbow towards your left knee, take the left shoulder right the way around as far as you can. Just feeling the balance, holding that there, and then placing the left foot down, transition really slowly as you take left elbow to the right knee. The right arm coming right back. And then coming back to standing. Just let the arms come down. And then we're going to turn, bring the feet to about mat distance apart. And we're going to do that same movement, but bring the leg back rather than to this wide stance. So just take your left knee up, the right elbow to the knee. And then gently bring the left leg back and take the left elbow towards the right knee. So you're bringing your right arm, shoulder back. So we do that a couple of times. Bring the left knee up, the right elbow to the left knee. Breathing deeply. And then place that left foot behind as we transition the left elbow towards the right knee. Maybe we'll do that one more time. Right elbow to left. It's a wobbly one. Really strong balance. Keep your core nice and strong. And then bending down. Stretch back that left leg. And then come back to standing. Just let go in the arms. If you don't feel you had enough room, you might want to just move yourself forwards a little bit. Oh. A couple of deep breaths. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So we're going to bring the left elbow to the right knee, bringing the right arm back, just holding that for 2 or 3 breaths, and then take the right foot down and the right elbow towards the left knee. So this is a balance using your core, and then as you transition through, really going into a strong balance, feeling into the twist. Doing that again. So you're not taking your right foot back too far. Drawing in through the core as you transition your right knee forward, right arm comes back. And let's do that one more time. Feel the breath. As you're working hard, it might be getting a little bit deeper. And then the left elbow towards the right knee. Well done. And then slowly down. Good. Let's have a shake. And ease from side to side. And allow the spines to twist nice and gently. Let the hands just flop against the body. Maybe working them up and down so that you start off with them just tapping at the hip, and then they tap at the waist, and then tap at the shoulder. And bringing them back down to the waist again. And then the hip, one side to the other. And then releasing, letting them just slow down when they're ready. Bring your hands into prayer. Just rest the thumbs on your heart center. Close the eyes. Feeling the breath in the body. And paying attention to any movement of energy you can feel in the body. And we're going to ease ourselves very gently down onto the back. Just take your time. Give your knees a hug when you get there. Cross the ankles over and just really gently massage into the back. Rock from side to side. Softening through the shoulders, the elbows. Maybe bringing the knees a bit closer up to your chest. Again, be really playful about this as we explore what's here in the back. Pressing the knees away from you as you take that movement down around the tailbone. This is a place where we can hold quite a lot of tension sometimes, but we don't really notice it. So notice if it's tight or uncomfortable or soft and open. Just being really kind to yourself around that. Beautiful. And then placing both feet back down on the mat. And let's just interlace the fingers and rest the head on the hands with the elbows coming out to the sides. Some beautiful deep breaths right the way through the body. So feeling the belly rise, the rib cage and the chest, and then softening back down. So there's a feeling of a wave of breath coming through the body. And then we're going to very gently cross the left over the right and ease your legs, knees down to the right side. So only going as far as your back feels able to go. Feeling into that twist, relaxing through the feet. Let the weight of the legs now just allow the twist to deepen and open into the lower back, the hip, the leg. Aware of the breath. And then gently come back up to center. And you might need to realign a little bit. If your fingers are interlaced, you might just want to move them down one notch. And then cross your right leg over your left. Breathing in and breathing out. Just letting the knees go down as far as they feel able to go. Really protecting your neck, your spine. And once they get there, relaxing through the feet, shoulders, closing the eyes and feeling the breath. And then just gently ease yourself back up. Have a beautiful long stretch and notice how that feels for you. Notice if you feel longer, lengthened. And then finding your comfortable place at the end of the session to experience the effects of your mindful yoga practice. So putting on your layers. And knowing that this is a choice for you, whether you put your feet up the wall or just have yourself in semi-supine or lying in Shavasana. Maybe you want to rest in a twist. It's entirely up to you. But as you find your place, allow your awareness, your consciousness to travel through the landscape of your body. Traveling through the rivers and the streams, all the tiny tributaries, feeling into the energy, into what's here for you in this moment. As you allow that awareness to flow, noticing if you feel warmth or coolness, or fizzing, tingling, a sense of openness, of connection. Not only noticing the physical sensations, but also sensing into your feeling tone, your inner atmosphere or emotional tone. This tone has such capacity to change and alter during our yoga practice. An awareness too of your thoughts, your thinking. Sensing into what's here for you in your body, in your heart, and in your mind in this moment. And then just gently rubbing the hands together, creating a little bit of warmth. And then just placing them over your eyes, just letting that energy come into your closed eyes. You might want to just softly open them for a few moments and then do that again. Really getting some warmth in the hands, the palms of the hands, over the eyes, just blinking the eyes open now. Leaving your hands there, feeling the energy coming from your hands into your eyeballs. And separating the fingers, nice and gently, letting the light in, rolling over onto your right side. And then coming up, nice and slowly, just sitting in my own time. Maybe having a couple of rolls of the shoulders. Interlace the fingers. Lovely long stretch in, up. Breath in, and as you breathe out, just allow the arms to float softly down by your side. Namaste. Thank you very much.